My name is Chef Swole, and we are doing a challenge run to defeat Elden Ring from start to finish using every single weapon in the game. Today's weapon is Shirio's Tree, and it was requested by lots of boy over on the YouTube. Now, with all of these videos, we'll first be going into a breakdown of what is the optimal starting class. We'll begin going over the builds that we're going to be running for this weapon, followed up by a tier list where we'll let you know, hey, compared to the other 411 unique weapons in Elden Ring, does this weapon rank as an S tier, C tier, broken straight sword tier, and etc. So without further ado, let's get into the starting class. The optimal starting class for Shirio's Tree is actually going to be the Vagabond, because although this is a faith-based build, the weapon does have quite a high requirement for strength as well as dexterity, meaning we need a minimum of 13 dexterity to use the weapon. And because this class brings us in at exactly 13 dexterity, it's a perfect class for it. Not only that, but its strength is very close to the requirement because we're going to be two-handing this weapon. So with that being said, the only strength you need to two-hand it is 18. So we're going to need to get 4 levels into strength, bringing it from 14 to 18. How it works in Elden Ring is whatever half of your strength is, if you two-hand the weapon, you can add that to your strength. So for example, in this case, 18, half of that is 9. 18 plus 9 is 27, and because the weapon requires 27 strength to wield it, all we need to do is get our strength from 14 to 18 to be able to wield that weapon. Now from there, after you get those 4 levels in strength, you will have to bump up your faith from 9 to 20, so that is going to require 11 levels, meaning that to use this weapon you need a total of 15 levels, 11 plus 4 for those mathematicians, in order to get it going. Now, the rest of the stat spread is as follows with the Vagabond. You come in at rune level 9, you have 15 into Vigor, 10 into Mind, 11 to your Endurance, 14 in Strength, 13 Dexterity as we went over, 9 in Faith, 9 in Intelligence, and 7 in your Arcanine. And when you level it, you want to, of course, get those required stats that we went over, get your Strength up to 18, your Faith to 20, and then from there, you want to focus on your Vigor, getting your survivability up for the early game, pump your Vigor from 15 up to 30, and then your Endurance to 15 if you are not wearing armor, and if you do want to wear armor, try to get it closer to 20, making sure we can still medium roll while wielding this great spear weapon class. From there, you want to keep bringing your faith up to 30 to get much more damage out of our Ash of War, and then after you at least have 30 faith, you can flip back over to your Vigor, get that to level 50 for that late game survivability. And finally, any remaining points you have are going to be dumped into strength, because as we'll go over in the build, although the weapon does do damage based off of strength and dexterity, our build is set up around the faith and the unique Ash of War that this weapon provides. So that being said, let's go check out the build. Now that we know the optimal starting class and what stats we should upgrade and where, let's go over the build itself. Now, Shirio's Tree is a strength and face-based weapon, but how we are going to run this weapon in order to make it more optimal is by making a build around its Ash of War, which does a ranged, holy based attack, adding a decent amount of stagger and a whole lot of damage. So in order to maximize that Ash of War, we have equipped the Sacred Scorpion Charm, the Godfrey icon, and the Shard of Alexander. Now, the Shard of Alexander and the Godfrey icon will work hand in hand together to boost up this weapon's Ash of War, as it is a charged skill there. The Sacred Scorpion Charm will boost its holy damage, and that's going to stack with the healer tier on the weapon. So for the holy tier on the weapon, you want to go ahead, add that on. What we've done is we've taken off the stamina tier, and you want to go ahead and add on that holy shroud tier there. And then lastly, we're going to keep the OP and hard tier, which on this build, it will combine with the Dragon Crest Great Shield in order to help us with physical damage negation, allowing us to trade with some of these bosses. So all together, this is what it'll look like before you head into battle. You'll pop your Psychic Flask, you'll head up to a boss, and you'll fully charge the Ash of War. And ideally, you'll hit them. Normally, you'll be target locked on a boss, but since he is an NPC, we get a slight miss. But you can just see the devastating impact and the devastating damage when it does hit. The rest of this video will be footage from the 14 mandatory bosses, and we'll see where are these windows to charge up this attack, to charge up this Ash of War, and make sure that you don't miss like we done on the first hit there, but rather the second, the third hit, we'll be seeing where to hit those windows consistently. So without further ado, let's head into the first boss of the run, Margit. So for Margit, it's all about, hey, let's find his windows because we're going to have to charge this Ash of War, and right from the start, we're able to hit him with a big chunk there. We see it does relatively good damage, about 25% of his health gone, maybe closer to 20, but it's right around that area. And what I'm testing at here is, hey, do we able to get in a window when he is using his tail whip attack? And we are definitely able to, providing another window there. We know that he is very close to activating his hammer attack, so we're leaning into baiting him there. We do get him off, and we're able to trade with him and then power up our health potion to get us back to full, and then find another window. So from here on out, we want to dodge roll out. We want to drink a cerulean flask and make sure we're going to be on top of it. And we are able to tank some of his lighter attacks. You saw there, he hit us with a light attack. It did not knock us out of our animation, as we were able to get another one down. And then with him only being about 1 or 2 hits, a couple pokes does the trick. So fighting Margit using Shurelia's Tree is all about finding the windows. It's not the highest damaging weapon, but its range that it provides and the overall stagger and flexibility that it gives you makes it a relatively easy fight. The difficulty for Margit using Shurelia's Tree comes in at a 2 on 10. I was very excited about doing the Godrick fight because Morgott does have a natural high resistance to Holy, as you can probably tell with his Holy Sword, his Holy Knife, his Holy Hammer, etc. Godrick, the weakest of the demigods, does not. So we got a little bit over eager at the start of the fight in finding these windows to get this fully charged Ash of War off, and you see us getting punished a couple of times. We'll be able to break down a little bit more consistent windows here shortly, as he does surprise me with the range of that attack. But no worries, we're loaded up and ready to go, and we're looking for a window here, so we do dodge it. We know he's about to do a double swipe grab, and from here we start charging up our Ash of War. Great window to be able to hit him and get him into his transition. Next, we'll be able to hit him with another Holy as he goes for the wind. Heal back up, and then get one more free window here, getting him to his transition mode before he gets a chance to wail on us even more. So this hit is down, and we're able to get a stagger starting to get built up on him, hitting him during that transition. We're going to pop our flask to make sure we have enough of these Ashes of War to finish taking him out. Fully charged 1 brings him the stagger. We come in for the critical hit on him, and now as he's getting up, you want to fully charge that Ash of War, all the holy damage possible. We tank right through it, and we take out Godrick. The difficulty with Shurelia's Tree with Godrick really wasn't too bad at all. We weren't able to get him before he transitioned. That's the only time that a weapon will get a 1 on 10 against Godrick in cases like that. But the Shurelia's Tree does end up clocking in at only a 2 on 10 difficulty against Godrick. Let's head to the Academy and see how this weapon performs against the Red Wolf. I say when fighting the Red Wolf, it's all about finding those windows, and one of them is his jumping slam window. I tried to test out the hyper armor there to see if, hey, can we endure that slam attack with his magic sword? The answer was no. It did knock us out of our hyper armor, but we had to find out, the true ability of this weapon's hyper armor. What attacks can we tank and still get off? Which ones can we not? And that heavy slam was not one of them. So now that we have that rolled out, so we're back to full, we can this time roll true it, start charging it, and see, hey, are we able to get this up before he hits? And we do trade with them, but one of our hits gets him below 25% health as we dodge to the bite, try to get off another, and we succeed. We do trade on the Red Wolf because his counters were a little bit faster than maybe we were expecting, but we were able to have a big enough window when using this strategy to get him with that fully charged Ash of War before he is able to knock us out or get away so the attacks won't hit him. So with that being said, the overall difficulty rating of fighting the Red Wolf with Shurelia's Tree clocks in at a 2 on 10. Let's head upstairs to the Moon Queen and see how this weapon performs. So no need to use the Ash of War, just poking the bubbles to get her down from her little cocoon in the first place. This difficulty part of the fights is all about, hey, are we able to cycle her in one time before she gets a chance to come up, and we've got to knock her down again. So we see here we get 1, 2, the third one's going to be the charm, and it is, we are able to get that third one off. And so now we are ready to get some damage off at the start of phase 2 when utilizing this weapon against the Moon Queen. So when phase 2 starts, as we're explaining here in the clip, we're going to have to charge her down, because the fight is going to start with her shooting us with a long-range hyper beam attack, which will let us close the distance and leave her completely exposed. So as parts of the Moon Queen's advantages and disadvantages, most of her attacks are going to be ranged. And because we have an attack that we're going to have to really charge in order to hit, we're going to have to really be on top of it, as we will see here when the second phase starts. So it's mostly going to be a matter of, as she lifts her up, as she goes into the next setting, as she charges her attacks, are we able to dodge and position ourselves close enough to get off the Ash of War? That is going to be what you need to think about when you're fighting this boss with this weapon, with Shirley's Tree. And we'll really get a chance to see the overall build come into full fruition as so. The fight starts, she charges our hyperbeam, we dodge through it, everything's going according to plan, and we need to sip our flask to get some stamina recovery, because it's going to be a bit of a doozy of a fight chasing her down on our map. So we do try to see if the range can get her when she runs away, and it doesn't quite work. We're going to need to be a little bit closer than that. So we're filling out these windows, we're going to heal up, we're going to dodge to her magic burst, and she gets away from us again. So that's telling us, hey, chef, for these windows, we really need to be right next to her. So if she does run away, we're still able to get a big hit off. And you see right there, a disgusting hit. About 25% of her health is done as she turns another one. And I have learned our lesson. We're going to be staying close to her and not trying to fight her from a range as we were before, but rather fully charging it right next to her. She does manage to escape in her moon, like a very cowardly wizard, but that moon attack isn't going to be too bad because she's not in her summoning phase yet. We'll let the moon go off, we'll let the trackings go off, we'll let her staff twirl around for a bit, and we notice that she is able to, with just that staff, knock us out, again making a note of the hyper armor on this weapon not being the best. It is enough to get a knockdown, which is fantastic, a second one, which is fantastic, and from here on out, as she goes for a magic attack, I think that we have the ability to tank it and take her down, and we do. That magic attack did not knock us out of our attack animation, and because of that, and because of the fact that we are able to trade with her attacks not knocking us out, the fight was easier than I thought it would be. We did have to take a couple attacks, but the overall difficulty on Rennala with Shirley's Tree ended up coming in at only a 3 on 10. The dramatic tree Sentinel is what some people call the first skill check of this run. For us, it's really going to be a big test, because in order to really fully charge this weapon, we're going to need almost 4 seconds of continual charging. And this boss, as you can see, is not going to allow very much of those. So it's going to be a balancing act of trying to do some normal attacks and either trying to hit it with the Ash of War without it being fully charged, or just go ahead and tank the boss, trade the boss, and try to trade those hits. There, we are able to get a slight stagger animation, and we're able to get that fully charged Ash of War. We do go for it again, but you see that quick follow-up punish is teaching us very quickly in this boss fight that is not going to be an open window for us to trade through. We're going to have to line it up just right when fighting this boss with this weapon, and right here, we're able to get in a window where we are finally able to trade. As the boss starts its lightning phase, we'll knock it back, we'll dodge the fire, and then we will dodge lightning and try to heal up for the onslaught. So when using this weapon and the Ash of War, particularly as we're doing here, we want to make sure that our FP is always up to snuff. Get up to full health, pop that FP, and if they do some lightning or fire attacks, you want to dodge through those and close that window and find a safe way to be able to pull the trigger. Some of that is going to be baiting the boss towards you, as we do here. Dodge to the lightning, watch the follow-up. Okay, it's a swipe. Do we have a window? Let's see. We are able to get it off. Big damage. Dodge to the lightning. Where's the follow-up? Okay, it's readjusting. Lightning. Dodge to it. Whenever that vertical strike goes down, we wait until right when it starts to move, dodge the fireball, and here we are baiting the boss. We are going to say, hey, we're going to dodge these fireballs for the most part and make you come to us. As we dodge to the lightning, we look for the follow-up, dodge to the follow-up, charge the Ash of War, get a big hit off, and down goes the Drama Queen. We were able to trade hits with it. We were able to defeat it. The Draconic Tree Sentinel difficulty ends up clocking in at only a 4 on 10. Let's head up to the capital and see how this weapon performs against the Ghost of Godfrey, who is extremely resistant to holy damage. We learn quickly in this boss fights with this weapon that this Ash of War is not going to get it done, as we're not even able to trade it at all in order to get a hit off. The characters are so fast that we know, hey, this Ash of War, it's not going to work. Even there, not fully charged, it is just tickling the boss because the Ash of War does holy damage. So you want to focus on, maybe some light attacks, some heavy attacks, ones that didn't rely on holy damage. And it was really at this point of the run where you start to see the very surprisingly short range that Shiria's tree does have. Being that the weapon class is a great spear and the weapon looks almost as long as a man, you'd think it'd have a bit more range, but because it swings it vertically from holding the weapon halfway, it really limits the range of this weapon and when punishing bosses, which is going to be a problem against a holy resisting boss like Godfrey. And we try to trade, we try to stagger the boss using fully charged heavies, and this boss is just very punishing with this style of weapon, resisting what it does best and exposing its weaknesses, being its extremely short range despite its weapon class, which if a weapon has a short range like a dagger or a fist, it's not a death sentence at all because typically those weapons are very fast. But because it is a great spear with a short range and great spears have a much slower attack speed, it's definitely noticeable in this boss as we're not even halfway through the game that the great spear is already starting to fall off and be outclassed by other weapon classes. Here, though, we learned, hey, you know what? We're just going to not worry about fully charging the Ash of War. Let's get these light attack in, these light hits in, and punish this boss, baits him away from the corner when you're fighting him. And eventually, because it is a heavier weapon, you will find yourself getting a stagger, punish with the crit, and collect the W. Say the Ghost of Godfrey normally does not take that long, and it just resisted so much that we did. We really had to use more resources than normal. Because of that reason, the difficulty clocks in at a 5 on 10. So this is another boss that is heavily resistant to holy, and you see even when bosses are resistant, a fully charged attack with this build is still going to do some good damage. You got about 15% with that fully charged Ash of War. On the Omen Weasel will dodge over his knives, find an open window like so, and even though he runs away from us, the range of this weapon shows off a bit here as we're able to still hit him across from the map. Now, when he approaches us, we have another window to get a big attack off on him. We do end up taking some attacks, but we're able to follow that up. And even though he runs away, we're able to collect on his cowardness as he still gets hit by the range of this Ash of War. Now it knocks him down into his transitionary period, and we are able to get in another hit, meaning and showing that with this weapon, as long as it is a bit of a window, you can absolutely obliterate bosses, even when they're resistant to holy. So fortunately for the rest of the run, not many bosses will stand still once they dodge like Morgott does here, and so it might not end up working like that for the late game bosses as a spoiler. Still though, for Morgott, we are able to get pleasantly surprised by Shiria's tree despite the resistances, and the difficulty only clocked in at a 2 on 10, making it not a challenging fight at all with Shiria's tree. Still, though, let's head up to the mountaintops of the giants and see how the fire giant handles what this weapon has to offer. The limitations of this weapon were at grand use during the course of the fire giant fight. The short range, the long charge, the overall low damage output that Shiria's tree have will be on full display here. This boss fight took a half a dozen tries, and it really is a matter of trying to be patient, trying to find these windows. And you'll see here, because he moves around so much and he's such a big target, that when he moves around a little bit, it completely shifts his hitbox. So if you're charging the Ash of War like so, you're going to have a hard time getting that attack off unless he is completely stationary in very set windows such as there and there. We do get the heavy jump attack off here, but it's really second phase when it becomes an issue, and that will be apparent shortly. So even with multiple fully charged heavy attacks, you see he's only about 30% down low. We do try to do the fully charged attack, and you can just see if he backs away just a little bit, the hitbox is just not even exist. It's not even in the same zip code. We are able to proc a stagger here. We're going to get off one fully charged attack. We're going to get off a quick heavy. And I noticed, he's got a little bit left. Are we having enough here to get him to a second phase? And the answer was no. So we decided to play it a little bit safe, wait for his slam, dodge to it, follow it up with a fully charged Ash of War. And from here, he's only a couple hits away. So we will be able to get to second phase relatively easy. So when that foot comes down, we're going to charge up his Cerulean Flask. We're going to come up. There's one jump attack. We do get the Ash of War. We get a poke, we get another poke, and we didn't quite get it. So it looks like we're going to need one more hit on him to get him into second phase from the looks of it. And we do go for the jump attack. We don't quite get it. And the follow-up heavy Ash of War gets a big damage attack off, and that one definitely does the trick. Now, unfortunately, because he did do a tracking fireball attack, we weren't able to fully take advantage of where his arm lands. You see the tracking fireball just put fire everywhere along with his own Ash of War. So we weren't able to start off second phase by hitting him and staggering him like we were hoping with this weapon. But it just goes to show that even when using the Shiria's tree, you need to have a backup plan in place, and that is what we are going to be showing here. So we want to dodge his AoE, we want to take out the tracking fireballs that are chasing us, and then we want to chase down the giants as he rolls away. The idea is going to be, let's get behind the guy, let's get this Ash of War fully charged, and let's get some damage up and going. And on cases where he is about to roll away, there's no point in charging it. So what we want to do is bait out an attack like this, where he's going to be in a recovery animation and he wants to roll away before we can get the attack off. So if we rolled straight under him, like on this case, you'll notice here, we're not going to be able to hit his Ash of War unless he goes for an attack like the fireball tracking or the fire AoE. So in that case, we let him get off those fireballs. We get a couple of the Ashes of War. We hop on our horse and we chase him back down as he's messing around trying to swat us here. We're not going to go for any kind of Ash of War unless we see an attack. And when he does another diving, letting us punish him there. So from here, we'll recharge our FP. So whenever we get those windows, we'll be in good place to take advantage. He does do a diving attack, which lets us charge up that Ash of War. And you see there, it didn't actually hit him. The Ash of War, this weapon itself, it just has some very strange angles, and you're not always going to hit him, even if it looks like you're directly on target, particularly if there's any kind of elevation. Unfortunate thing about the mountain tops of the giants is there's lots of elevation all throughout this level. There's not really a flat plane, so you never really consistently know if your attack is going to hit him or if it's going to hit, a flick of snow and not let you get that follow up there. So we roll in here as we take massive damage on the roll, and we have to recover up instead of giving chase immediately. And then we see yet another AoE attack. We've got the fine fire coming out of his mouth. Got to dodge to it, run away from it, hop back on, chase him down, and look for this attack roll animation as we dismount with a heavy jumping attack. Is he going to roll? He is. Roly-poly-oly, and it is just rinse and repeat at this point. He really is making it a whale of a challenge, so we're going to have to fully charge our Ash of War as he goes down. We decide not to get greedy with a second fully charge, but we do come in with a heavy jump attack, activates the tracking fireballs, skillfully and tactfully dodge the fireballs coming from his hand, and he finally gets us there. We're running around on horseback and he gets a full strike at us. Instead of punishing him, we got to heal up as once again the fire giant rolls away. Now, I know what you're thinking, Chef, why don't you attack his hands in there in front of you? They do more damage. While that is true, they also don't stay there nearly as much as his back leg. You see, even with this weapon's Ash of War, it is just so slow. You have to charge it. That's even when we have a better stationary target like his back leg as opposed to his hand. We don't always get the attack off, and that is going to happen even more with his hand. So although the hand does give a more immediate payoff right away, it doesn't over a long term provide a better payoff when using this weapon, the Shiria's tree. So stick with hitting it from behind when he's in recovery animation from an attack like so, and you're going to find much more consistent success when fighting the fire giant with this weapon. So once again, we're on a rinse and repeat type here. It looks like he's maybe 2 hits away, so I'm thinking, hey, 2 Ashes of War, maybe a heavy jump attack, we're going to play it nice and conservative because we didn't want to lose the fire giant when we're this close. Couple pokes, but you just see the weapon's range. It's just so incredibly short. Even with that small hill there, it activated in a way that didn't allow us to get the damage off. So we got to chase him down one more time with the jumping attack before finally finishing off the giants. Like I said, this fight did take us about a half a dozen attempts to defeat the fire giant. And even when we did beat him, it was slow. It was overcoming. It was an endurance fight. And it was a fight where you really had to do a lot of attacks without making a mistake or you would lose the run. For that reason, the fire giant, much harder than a normal run. It ended up clocking in at a 9 on 10 difficulty with Shiria's Tree, and that's not going to be the last of the late game bosses with such a high difficulty rating. Now, after a half a dozen attempts on the Godskin Duo, we learned pretty quickly that in order to beat this boss fight, we're going to need a lot of resources, lots of health potions, because in order to get the fully charged Ash of War attack off to maximize Godfrey's icon, to maximize the Shard of Alexander, we're going to have to take hits just like we did there, and we're going to have to take them frequently. Now, here he does the AoE, causing us to flee. He throws fireballs, and we decide let's chase him away. Let him chase us, and we know, hey, we're gonna have to take some hits here, especially when it's a 2-on-1 fight. So we accept that hit being taken, and that is really one of the big challenges of doing the Godskin Duo with this weapon, because the damage is so low, the charge is so high, that in order to really take full advantage of it, you are frequently going to have to trade hits with these bosses, making it a very close call immediately. So right off the bat, we've used about half of our resources just to try to make it a 2-on-1 fight with the Godskin. We have to heal up our cerulean tears as well. And as we get behind the pavilion in order to be able to hide, from it, we are able to do a heavy jumping attack to get down the round one. And now we've created that true one-on-one fight that we need in order to secure the victory. So when you do get that one-on-one fight, you want to look for certain windows and certain ranges. So right here, we're able to punish the skinny one as he tries to dodge us. And we're looking for a window because as soon as we start charging, if he's straight on us, he will start his fireball attack. And right there, we decided let's test out to see if that hyper armor works, and it does not. So if you have a Godskin in front of you and using Shiria's Tree, do not, I repeat, do not try to hyper armor through it. Retreat to a safe distance and finish them off. Now, all the way across the map is definitely how you want to fight these bosses if you can, and Shiria's Tree is a good weapon for that. As we punish and heal up our cerulean tears, we're going to aggressively trade hits with this boss because we know that as soon as he's able to, he's going to bring back his friend. And we know that when he is doing his roly-poly attack, we can actually hop up on one of these pillars and carefully find a range to punish them like so. And now we're in a good position to get another one off and a final heavy jumping attack to take down the round Godskin, making it a true one-on-one fight. All that's left is one more Godskin, the skinny one, and we need to make sure to clutch this up because as you can see on the runes on the ground, we have had multiple attempts at this boss fight using this weapon, and the victory here is extremely satisfying. Using a bad weapon against a difficult boss, they resist wholly, they're mobile, they punish you quickly, it's tough to line up the Ash of War, makes for an incredibly difficult fight. The overall difficulty rating with the Godskin Duo using Shiria's Tree ended up clocking in at a 9 on 10. Now, surprisingly, Malkeith was not as challenging as the Godskin Duo and the Fire Giant. With these heavier weapons, the colossal weapons, the great spears, you're really able to put him in a position where it's going to be a tough idea for him to punish you, especially in second phase. Unfortunately, we learned very quickly throughout first phase that his movements and the way his animations carry him make trying to punish him with a fully charged Ash of War very unlikely to hit him. We'll be able to see an example of that right here during this chain attack. He goes right, left, and during the slam, we have a window, but because of how he recovers, watch the Ash of War. It just goes completely by him, and it's just not going to be viable to fully charge that Ash of War during phase 1 of this fight. We do get another slim here, and we try, hey, let's do a shorter variant, still miss it, so it's going to have to be even shorter than that, as it ends up being 3 misses in a row, 2 fully charged, 1 almost fully charged. So in my mind, I'm thinking, hey, we're probably going to only be able to charge the Ash of War about halfway in order to punish this boss. We get a chain attack, we get a slam, and this time we do get a hit off of on him, and we do get a minimal damage because, again, the more we charge it, the more Godfrey's icon activates and the more damage it does. This boss, first phase, has just been dancing around this weapon, really showcasing a lot of his flaws. Although we can't hurt the weapon from there, we can't penalize the weapon's rating on that one for a missed dodge. We can penalize it on just its very underwhelming animations as we come in, for a fully charge attack. He knocks us right out of it. And now at this point of the fight, we have gone almost a whole minute really without hurting him. And he has been using plenty of resources. We only have 6 out of 12 potions remaining. And we do go for a heavy attack there, and we are able to land it. Still a few hits away from second phase, so it's all going to be, hey, let's find these safe windows, these safe spots. But Malkeith just does not create very many with this weapon, especially with a build that requires such a long charge. Right here, we're able to hit him with a partial again. We're able to dodge through, and he does a quick rock attack, which hits us due to him bumping into the pillar and messing up the timing of his own attack to his advantage, as we missed the dodge roll because the timing was off. Right, again, he is going for that chain attack, which we have been able to punish using this weapon's Ash of War. We get behind it, we do a partial charge, we hit him here, he's one shot, so we decide to quickly tap him and make it to second phase. When second phase starts, we take 2 steps to the right, 3 steps back, dodge to his horizontal attack, come in with a heavy jump attack, 2 heavy jump attacks, and I tried for the third one, but try as I might, we're not able to get it. And at this point, it is looking very drastic for us because we are affected by destined death and have half health, 3 potions, an almost full health second phase Malkeith, and barely any damage to show for it. Instead of even trying to fully charge the Ash of War, just due to how long it would take this second phase Malkeith leaping around like a bat out of hell, we know it's not going to be very effective. So we're just going to focus in on getting in some sure hits when we can, such as when he does his melee swipe attacks. And until then, the vast limitations of this weapon are going to help us and make us rely on the dodge roll. I'm thinking right here, when he does that attack with the destined death on the ground, we might have a window possibly for Ash of War to fully charge, but we haven't risked it so far, and I really wasn't comfortable seeing it there as we get the double dodge and a follow-up heavy punish. So at this point, we have been building up his stagger pretty nicely, so we're trying to stay very aggressive, and we are able to proc the stagger here. We're going to be able to get a critical strike on him, and we are going to be able to follow it up with a fully charged Ash of War, meaning that we are about 1 shot away, 1 fully charged Ash of War away from beating Malkeith, or possibly even a couple of jumping heavy attacks. Resources are very low with only 2 remaining. We do get a good RNG, a nice animation, but he lives on 1, and we were not able to punish it. He's got so little health we can't even see it, but for pure aura purposes, we end him with the Ash of War. Malkeith goes down harder than normal, but it actually did not kill us, so we can't rate it that high. Still, though, the difficulty rating was Shayla's Tree, just due to how long the fight was and how patient we had to be, how many dodges we needed, ended up being a 6 on 10. Whenever we get one of the bad weapons, such as Shayla's Tree, which is clearly proved to be a bad weapon, you know Gideon is going to be a tough fight, because if you can't take this weasel down before he gets going, you're not going to have very many windows to do so. You saw the lost runes on the ground as we walked in here, and Gideon had made short work with us, rolling through our Ashes of War, tanking our attacks and trading us with stronger magic attacks of his own, spamming us, and overall just giving us a really tough time. This was about a dozen attempts in Gideon. He was by far the hardest fight to the run thus far, and it's all about finding a window here, knocking him down, keeping him knocked down. We're able to make it look easier than it was on this attempt, but rest assured the RNG was definitely in our favor there. A very hard fight with Gideon the All-Knowing. The difficulty the amount of tries that it took, and having to trade with him and get close to him only to have him dodge you with his rolls and then punish you with a much heavier and much more damaging magic attack made the challenge of fighting Gideon with Sharia's Tree a 9 on 10. Anytime we don't one-try Godfrey, it's going to be a very challenging fight. You see him walking over the runes there, and this one was no different. Just like we had a bit of trouble with the Ghost of Godfrey, finding windows that we could punish with our heavy Ash of War attacks, we had the same issue with the real-life version of the first Elden Lord. You see here, instead of trying to charge the Ash of War, we chose to go for shorter, quicker punishes, simply because his counters are so fast, the axe is so long, and his AI is so clever at being able to punish you anytime you heal, anytime you charge, that we went the shorter, safer route here. And you see us chipping away at him and occasionally mixing in a fully charged heavy attack to proc a stagger like so. Unfortunately, this shows a lot of what's wrong with this weapon in that when you're using it, its range is so short that you're easily punished. And you see right there, I missed one dodge roll, and this weapon, just the damage output does not make up the limited range that it possesses. He does go into an axe stance, which means that we should be able to roll through, grab a punish here, watch him run away, stomp, dodge to the punish, light attack, dodge to the punish, and we go for the fully charged heavy, and we get it. At this point, I'm thinking, hey, you know what? We might be able to get a quick stagger at the start of second phase, and I'm hoping that he doesn't stagger at this point and first phase, because we want to start off second phase with a stagger if at all possible. And that is why we're not really going for these fully charged heavy attacks here whenever the punish window exists. We're going for lots of light attacks, hoping to prevent that. And as you see right there, we do a good job of doing it. Unfortunately, we barely proc it. He gets into second phase, so we just decide, hey, let's damage him as much as we can, only to have it fall right in our face. You see the disadvantages of this weapon. Him jumping away makes using that fully charged Ash of War so difficult that it's almost not usable at all in first phase of this fight. Right here, we decide to, hey, let's go ahead and go for that fully charged heavy attack. We do get it, and we're going to need to retreat and heal. And this is going to be all about, let's find a window. Do we get a chance to proc him with it? And we do. The roar is going to knock us over, but the damage is good on Godfrey. And if we can find a couple windows to use that Ash of War, which we'll show you here in the fight, you're going to have a good time. Right here, we decide to trade with him. And it's not the best trade for us because he starts his onslaught of Fury Swipe attack. We need to get some distance. And we see he is starting his slams a bit early. He normally starts at closer to 25% health. He's about 33% there. But we are able to punish at least one fully heavy charge attack there. We do get unlucky with the grab, but thanks to the build and the build breakdown, we do have the damage resistant tier. We do have the Dragon Crest Great Shield. So we are able to survive one of those grab attacks and get away and try to heal up, which we do here. From here on out, we just need to find, it looks like about 3, maybe 4 windows. And one of those windows is great with his grab attack. We can trade during the roar, go down, and now it looks like it's going to be about 2 more attacks with the Ash of War, or maybe even less if we just need to poke him. We're going to dodge to the roll. We're going to go for the Ash of War, and he stomps us out of it. We're almost able to trade, but not quite. Get out to there from the roll, and then we need to reassess and find another open window. This boss, he will circle you, he will test you, he will try to grab you, and you have to be on top of that and use it to your advantage. We're able to get the fully charged heavy attack there, trade the light attack. He does go for the grab. We go for the jump, and we don't get him. He lives on 1 HP. We go for the dodge and finish off the first Elden Lord. Godfrey down, more difficult than normal. The difficulty rating was Sharia's Tree, ended up being a 7 out of 10. This fight almost broke me. It takes so long to chip away these 2 extremely holy resistant bosses. You see that fully charged Ash of War only doing 1400. It was doing well over 2000 for most of the bosses, meaning this is going to be an absolute doozy. Starting with Radagon, who punishes so fast and leaves very little windows for you to punish with any kind of Ash of War charge. So this fight is going to be all about finding short windows to hit him, and those very limited windows when we can punish with the Ash of War, taking advantage there. You see one of the major weaknesses of this weapon right from the start, as even though we dodge him, we are not nearly close enough to punish him. Our light attacks just go well short of Radagon here, and that is going to be a theme that you will see with this weapon during both of these fights. The range for a Great Spear is absolutely atrocious. The Ash of War using holy damage is basically non-effective against either one of them, and the Radagon fight in particular uses up so many resources that by the time the Elden Beast came, we were going to have to play almost perfect. So right here, despite the fight being going on well over a minute now, we aren't even close to finishing off. He's got about 2/3 of his health remaining, as we are able to finally stagger him, critical strike him, and on the stand up, we need to time it just right. We start charging it, so we do get another attack off. The jump, the heavy jump punish, recover the stamina with a crutch, and roll into him with yet another fully charged Ash of War, and almost get punished. Still one more to go, but he teleports right after us. So we have to go 1, we have to go 2. We need to, instead of punishing, charge our Cerulean Tear, dodge through that 3rd slam, fully charge up the Ash of War, and he still has a little bit over 1/3 health remaining, despite all these hits. All of these dodges, we are still not even close with this boss fight, and we have been in the arena for 2 minutes as he takes down half of our health with a single swipe. This weapon and its holy damage is extremely ineffective against Radagon and the Elden Beast, and the more we punish him, the more we see it as the weapon just starts tickling him, despite being fully upgraded and having a build designed around it. So he gets some good RNG as he goes into a second triple slam. We are able to punish with a heavy jump. We're able to follow it up with a fully charged Ash of War, get a big punish off, but he is still at around 12-13% health, meaning still we've got to key on our toes and play well. We're going to go for the fully charged heavy, does good damage, but you see, even based off of that, we need probably 3 more of those. This weapon, the damage output, especially late game, it's just, it's non-existent, and it really becomes punishing for you when you get to the late parts of this game. So right there, you see yet more limitations of this weapon. We went for the fully charged heavy, and despite dodging right behind him, the range is so low, it just straight up misses. We decided to go for the fully charged heavy and get mega punished using even more of our resources, because the hyper armor on the Ash of War just isn't strong enough to get by these knockback attacks from some of these bosses. We do get another fully charged heavy, dodge through, dodge to the punish, and now we knew we need just maybe a couple more hits, and you see our resources, we've almost used half of them in the Radagon fight, trying to stay at full. As he comes in with the hammer slam, we dodge through it, we get the Ash of War charge, and down goes the Elden Lord. Up next is a far harder fight. We know the Elden Beast is even more mobile. We know he's going to run away. We know he's very resistant to holy, just like Radagon. And despite all that, as a matter of beaten, every boss in the game, the 14 required bosses with every weapon, all 411, we're going to have to find a way to take it out. So we start off not worrying about the heavy Ash of War, but rather these jump attacks, considering the idea that, hey, if we get enough heavy jump attacks with this, maybe we can proc a stagger, build it up, and go for the critical strike. As we'll quickly see throughout the duration of this fight, it's not going to go that way. He has a different idea, this Elden Beast, this Elden Weasel, and he's going to make us work for every bit of damage that we put with this ineffective weapon into the beast. So here we're going to be poking him because we fully expect him to move. We get an explosion attack, dodge out, run back in. And at this point, I'm thinking, we haven't staggered him. We should be able to get a couple hits. And finally, down goes the beast. We can fully charge our Ash of War. And you see, it just tickles him, 1200 damage. He eats up all holy damage like he's having a muffin for breakfast. And as he gets up, we hit him with another fully charged Ash of War, a quick poke on the way out. And all of that, over 2 minutes of fighting, and this boss isn't even at 50% health. We're going to have to stay on him. We're going to have to make sure he doesn't escape, and we're going to have to make sure we keep on the non-stop pressure. Get out to the ring. We know the Elden Beast is going to appear in front of us, and we know that very shortly he's going to be using the Elden Stars attack, which is going to make the rest of the fights an absolute doozy. We don't get the slam, so he gets 1 attack, we get 2, and then we see him trying to escape and succeeding. So we got to chase him down yet again. And We need to watch out for his triple ringer and the Rosie attack. He does do it when he gets about half health, but luckily here, he didn't head up to this guy, so we were able to get close to him, get out of his explosion attack, close in on him, and keep the pressure up in hopes of another stagger. We come in with an amazing miss, a second amazing miss, and then we just take a moment to appreciate the extremely limited range of this weapon. This has been an excessively hard and difficult challenge so far, and I've got an idea of where this weapon might end up in the tier rankings when it is all said and done. Even on fights where we play well, you just see the amount of length that the fights take is a testament to the weapon's just overall low potential, extremely low damage output, extremely low holy damage against bosses that resist it. And even when this build is doing exactly what it's designed to do, you can just see the damage simply isn't there. The range simply isn't there. And the devastation is absorbed by our character. So despite all that and all those hits and all this damage and all those dodges, we still have an Elden Beast to take care of. And this Elden Beast still has roughly 40% of his health remaining. So we're going to have to heal up. We're going to have to keep the pressure on. And we get our second stagger of the fight. Will it be enough? A fully charged Ash of War goes off, a critical strike goes off, and in the recovery, we know we need another fully charged Ash of War because obviously all these hits just tickle this boss with this weak weapon attack. We get him into range for him to do his triple ring around the Rosie. We're out of cerulean tiers, and at this point out, it's going to be all about chipping away the Elden Beast with heavy jump attacks, heavy attacks, light pokes when we can mix it in, and keeping the pressure up on him while surviving as much as we can on our end, because this weapon's not going to be doing the damage needed in order to defeat this boss. We're going to have to play the long game. We're going to have to be patient as we put off the last Ash of War. Cerulean tiers are fully down at this point, and the Elden Beast has about 8% of his health remaining. Despite all of that, despite the fight getting on for over 5 minutes straight, we're going to have to chase him down as he goes all the way across the map. We do bait out the melee attacks, dodge to it, one heavy jump, one poke, dodge to the roll, a fully charged heavy, and the beast is one hit, and it still doesn't kill him. Truly 1 HP now as we beat out the melee, and we see the blood in the water, and down goes the Elden Beast. Extremely challenging. Difficulty rating overall for both bosses, an 8 on 10. The average difficulty rating on a scale of 1 to 10 using the Shuria's tree on each of these bosses in Elden Ring ends up coming out to a 5.64 out of 10, making Shuria's tree a bad choice to use as your weapon of choice as you become the Elden Lord. The range of this weapon is surprisingly short considering it's a great spear. The Ash of War, it provides a little bit of hyper armor, but not nearly enough. You get knocked out of lots of attacks when you are using it. And additionally, because the Ash of War is based on holy damage, the late game bosses in Elden Ring are very resistant. Radagon, the Elden Beast, Morgott, etc. to holy, and it really falls off late game. Because of all of these factors, Shuria's tree ends up being an easy choice and our second weapon in the broken straight sword tier. But enough from me. What do you think? Does Shuria's tree belong in the broken straight sword tier? Where would you personally rank it? And if you were building a build to complete the game of Elden Ring with Shuria's tree, what different talismans, weapon setups would you personally add? Let me know in the comments below. My name is Chef Swole, and we are live every Monday through Saturday as we beat Elden Ring from start to finish using all 411 unique weapons. Drop a follow for everything Elden Ring. And until next time, fellow Tarnished, stay maidenless.